Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, rising VTuber and artist, and today we are gonna be doing a little bit, not necessarily different. I've noticed that I've been on a really big character design stream kick recently, and while that's good, I don't want to be only doing that. So what I wanted to do is come back to some illustrations that I really liked how they turned out, and one of those was actually the index card drawings that I did like back in May. I back then I was saying like, oh yeah, I want to do like 100 of these. I want to do a ton of these, but frankly, the time allotment for that was very unrealistic. That's not a 3 week kind of thing. That's like a 3 month kind of thing, and that's like doing them every day, all day, every day. I don't know. It's kind of cool though. I do want to draw more people who are VTubers and in this space. I don't know. I feel like I need to make a bucket list of people whose avatars I want to draw before they like stop streaming and stop being active as creators. Well, it's very unlikely that they are. Like, especially for like the corporate ones, there is a very strong tendency for those to come back in some way or another. It's very rare that they completely bow out of the game, so to speak. But it does happen, and you know, it is sad when that does happen, just because there is, you know, it's just sad when somebody doesn't come back. It's sad when they don't have an opportunity to return. That being said, do I have a reference image for Zett? I feel like I don't think I do actually. I don't know. I don't think I have a full body for Zett. I don't know if did they ever post one? I feel like they did though. I feel like I have to have it somewhere. Hang on. But yeah, we're starting off with Zett as soon as I find this reference picture. Hang on, maybe it's on their Twitter or on their Blue Sky. If I just keep scrolling, I'll eventually find it. God, okay. Oh wait, no. Now I remember. The reason I didn't have I didn't have a reference for them per se because I don't think they do have one. They do, however, have a picture of them like on a bed sheet with one tear in their eye, kind of coquettishly. So that's close enough. I've done more with less. Okay. And actually, you know what? I have been trying to think about like how to do. Hang on. Where's the I shouldn't click my tongue like that. That sounds strange. I feel like I needed to do something. Not blurring. That's definitely there. Right, the time lapse. Right, okay, now I remember. I remember that I wanted to start doing more time lapses too. Mostly just because those are good for, you know, turning into videos. I don't know, it's fun to do those. Those are just nice to do. I will say it's a little awkward to have a vast gulf of emptiness down here, but I'm sure that'll get filled out one way or another. Okay. We're gonna blur this layer just so we don't have as high of a definition, and we can do more stuff with the line art. That's something that I've been trying to. That's something that I was wondering how it would go. The thing is, a lot of these were references that I took from a whatchamacallit. How would you call this? Like a photo reference book, right? That I bought one time that is in Chinese, so I can't exactly read it. I mean, I know like a couple of characters in Chinese. I don't know Chinese. I don't know ball in Chinese. I am not fluent. I don't know. Maybe there will come a day when I need to be fluent in Chinese, so I don't know. My family often says that none of your efforts are ever truly wasted when you learn something. So maybe it'll come back to me in some way or another. Maybe in some future moment I'll have to know how to speak Chinese for whatever reason. I don't know what moment that might be, but might as well be prepared. Okay, in the picture that they've got up here, it looks a little more like a bob cut almost, but there is still very much a very well-defined gap here for the eye. So let's just go with that. Also, hang on. Before we do that, actually, let's take a look at the original drawing real quick. So I think, hang on. I think something to change about it is to put the shoulder here could use a little bit of work. So let me just like. Hang on. Sort of like. Yeah, that feels much more reasonable, and then we can kind of transform the jacket here a little bit too. Yeah, I think I remember that I made their neck a little wide or something, so I can just kind of droop their head down a little bit. It's going to be kind of difficult Frankensteining some of these together. But I think it'll be worth it. But yeah, already it's looking a lot cleaner. Okay. And also maybe just bring this a little bit further in like this. Yep, okay. And we can pull up the shorts just a little bit later on. Okay. From there we can start doing the Gaussian blur on this. Nope, that's not. It is always funny. I feel like I have the equivalent of butterfingers whenever I'm using the kind of like ribbon up here. It feels like I am very awkward with it. Been using this program for what, 7 years, and I'm still kind of. I am occasionally still like spilling my spaghetti all over the place, so to speak. Although I guess that's true of anybody. I feel like the more I've gotten to work with Excel and everything, the more Excel has found ways to betray me. Have you ever had that problem? Like, I guess it is like the same problem that everybody has as they gain proficiency in something, which is that every time, you start at a point where you're like, oh wow, I feel great. This feels fantastic. I feel like I'm learning so much, because you are learning a lot. You are advancing quickly because you're starting from 0 to like 2, which is a huge jump. But like then you're going from 2, going from like 2 to 3 even. It's like, oh wow, geez, this is kind of tough. I'm sweating a little here, right? And then, God forbid, from 3 to 4, you're like, oh my God, this is impossible. How does anybody do this? I feel so frustrated and I don't understand why. Like, I know what's wrong, but I know there's something wrong, but I don't know what, and I don't know how to correct it, even if I was able to picture it. And that's kind of the make or break moment where like you either manage to power through and find the right guidance, and you're like, oh shit, okay, no, never mind, I'm goated. This is just the growing pain. Or you're like, you know what, on the other hand, maybe I don't want to learn to do this so badly, and you abandon that shit forever. Which doesn't always happen, sometimes you do actually come back to it in one way or another. But in other times you do have to go like, you know what? Nah, I'm done here. I don't know. We all have so much time on Earth, right? There's only so much effort and work that you can put towards any one specific goal at any given time. It's important to understand that sometimes you're just not that guy. You're just not going to be that guy. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You just have to The bad part is not accepting that that's what's happening. I think accepting that sometimes you just blow at something and you're not interested in getting better. That's like 50 times better than being like, you know what? No, I have the potential. I should be better than this. Because then you're kind of stuck in this sort of hell where you're not exactly good at what you do. You want to get better, but at the same time, you don't have the passion, you don't have the follow through, the passion to really put time into that improvement. And that's the worst. Because then every single time the topic comes up, you're like, yeah, I did try that, but I wish I could get better, but you just keep doing the but thing. And it hurts a little bit. It hurts a little bit. And somebody will be like, well, no, you can still do it. And then you'll have to like put them down gently like, yeah, but it's more like the regret of not really being able to do it more so than the actual regret. Like I'm sad I'm not better at it. I'm not necessarily sad I'm not putting more time into it. And that makes you both look like idiots. So it's tough. It's tough. Also, I might make the shorts more like almost like bikini bottoms. I don't know. That seems to be what they're going for. Almost like bikini bottoms. So I'm not actually gonna make them that short. Unless no, not today. God, earlier I saw somebody. I saw one of the friggin'. I saw this Moko account be like, it's a shame that there's not more cute art of Mokoko. Not their exact words, but it's sad that there's not more cute art of Mokoko. Wink, wink, artists. And like normally that would be like, it's very like. How do I put it? Like sometimes when people ask for art, it's very much from a place of entitlement. But I feel like in this case, I'm praying that every artist who reads that, who isn't me, sees that and it's like a sort of draft to war. I don't know. Do you ever have that experience where it's like, wow, I sure hope that somebody draws that, and I sure hope that person isn't me. Like, you would be willing to do it, but like at the same time, it's like, do I want to do it though? I don't know. You have to ask yourself that question sometimes. Like, the first is, can I do it? And the second question is, do I want to do it? As long as you have a control over those two things, you are in a very good position. Okay, and then that's going to come out like this. God, now I'm recently questioning how I draw feet. I think I've talked about this before. I recently realized that I am somewhat flat-footed, and now I'm wondering frequently, has that affected the way I draw things? Has that somehow like has my own perception and expectation of what a normal foot looks like affected the way I've drawn feet in general? The answer is probably yes. You see this happen often where like somebody will draw something and you're like, wow, that doesn't seem right. And then you meet them in person, it's like, oh, okay, no, they just look like that. All right, my bad. I mean, technically art is anything you can get away with, so it really doesn't matter what somebody is drawing, but sometimes you see somebody with like unique features and you're like, oh, that's why you draw them like that. I don't know. It adds some richness to it. It's like a little bit of rosemary in fried steak. Hi, Bunny. How you doing? Interesting, right? I'm wondering, and now I'm wondering if anything else that I have that's unique has affected the way I draw things. Like I know that the fact that I'm double jointed in my thumb has definitely affected how I draw hands sometimes. I don't know. Do you think you've observed this in any circumstances, Bunny? Like, do you think that that's a thing that you've noticed that other people do? It's like the superlative version of that thing that happens when you're drawing a complicated expression. You're making that expression subconsciously. I've always found that phenomenon so interesting because we can't see our faces. I think so. Yeah. No pressure if you don't want to share, but like I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear the circumstances. Like when I drew hands for art class, my hands were longer because they were based on my hands. Oh, yeah. See, that's a great example. Right? There's so much of ourselves in everything we create. That's crazy. It's very touching in a way. Also, I do need to... I apologize to everybody who was hoping to see more leg from this. I will have to buff the shorts a little bit just because I don't know how to... Hang on. Trying to figure out the topology of this zone, and it's making me... I'm trying to figure out the topology of this area, and it's not... The math isn't working very well. Yeah. I wonder if that means that I should like look for furniture or like mouse designers who have like big hands, because my hands are fairly big and they tend to struggle to cling onto mice that are too small. So maybe I need to find some kind of mechanical engineer who isn't aware that they have huge hands, and I need them to make me a mouse. This foot needs to be a little bit further up. Oh yeah, right, the flat feet. Actually, you know what? It's fine. If I do it like this, then it looks normal. Okay, and then we're just gonna make the chest a little bit bigger. I think that seems about right. But yeah, in those cases, you do feel like sometimes Tumblr has polls where somebody's like, hey, everybody does this completely in this thing that I do that I don't think is weird, but is absolutely insane if you say it out loud. Like, I remember there was this post there's this Tumblr I've been following since like 2015 or something called like Sabertooth Walrus or something like that. And they do really good art. They make really nice art. I remember I followed them for their art. They don't post as much of it these days. I think a lot of it is locked behind like Patreon or their own independent projects, which is fine. People move on from social media. That's all very well and good. But the other day they talked about a new roommate that had moved in with them who puts their food in the oven to store it. Like their cooked food. Like they made a pizza in the oven, and then to store the pizza, they left it in the oven. No refrigeration, no nothing. And they were like to clarify, this isn't the thing that people do normally, right? And they made a poll about it, and an alarming number of people said, "What? No, that's normal. That's normal. Is it not normal? Is there something wrong with that?" And like it's at times like that I'm glad that one of my parents is a bit of a germaphobe. Because I'm thinking about like these people, the lives they lived, and all of the botulism that I dodged by relative chance. Okay, there we go, and that's good for that leg. Let's review some of the other components. So, neck is the neck exists. We know for a fact that the neck does exist, at least in theory. We have unconfirmed sightings of a neck within the vicinity. I do think the neck would actually be somewhere over here, though. But yeah, I do wonder if when artists realize that they do something, you know, sometimes it can go undetected for years, right? Like if I had never gotten my flat foot pains, I never would have realized that feet have more of an arch than that. For lack of a better term. So I'm wondering if like there are just some circumstances where it's just never noticed, where they just live their whole lives without realizing it. I mean, granted, if they do have some kind of art education like you did, Bunny, I'm sure that they will like gain an inkling. But I'm sure like it's funny you say that because I am also flat-footed. Listen, you need to start doing towel curls. I'm telling you right. Well, I'm sure if you know you're flat-footed, you've already worked out something for yourself. But like, message to everybody on Earth: if your feet don't look like this and instead look like more like this, like if like they're supposed to be like a fairly good arch here, right? If your feet don't look like that and they look more like this, you need to grab the nearest dish towel you have. And you need to start like scrunching your toes. Hang on. This is gonna show up in the time lapse. Don't worry about that when it does. You need to like find the nearest dish towel, set it onto the floor, get your toes on that thing, and begin like gripping your toes to begin scrunching up that towel, and it is going to do you a lot of good. God. How did you find out you were flat-footed? Like, did your feet just start hurting all of a sudden one day? Because that's what happened to me. Okay, well, to be fair, it's not like they started hurting one day. I went on a run that was far beyond the means of somebody who doesn't run regularly. And the next day, I was like, wow, my feet hurt. Funny. That makes sense, so I went running yesterday. But then they still hurt like a week later. And then 2 weeks after that, I was like, you know, maybe this isn't normal. Hang on. I don't think this is supposed to hurt that long. I've had bad ankles, knees, and doctors were like, you're flat-footed. Ah, professionally diagnosed. That's also good, though, because then the doctor can tell you straight up your options, and you can maybe avoid some headaches down the line. So it does affect your joints. Damn. That's rough. If this isn't too personal a question, like, so is there like are there things you can do to avoid it from affecting your joints as much, or is it more just so that like you need to treat your body delicately, or else the ghost of your arch is going to come and haunt you? Mostly orthopedic shoes with arch support. That makes sense. Something about this leg is fucking me up. Yeah, I think I made the calf too big. You know, what I ended up doing is that I got myself like a pair of like orthopedic soles for that you put on shoes, and I have a pair of indoor Crocs that I put those over. I've talked about my Crocs before. I've worn Crocs in the past, and I was like, wow, my foot circulation sucks now. I should stop wearing these. So I stopped wearing them. But now I found a good use for them. I put the soles into the Crocs, and now I just walk around with those on. So I did it. The Crocs ended up redeeming themselves in a way. They did end up redeeming themselves. It's really funny though. I had such illusions about becoming a guy who wakes up early and goes running, and then like immediately afterwards, I got like a divine tribulation for trying to change my sedentary lifestyle. I didn't know my fucking. I didn't know my journey to actually become a well-adjusted individual was going to require a training arc. That's crazy. Also, hey Ryan, how you doing? I think you got suppressed. Your speech was suppressed for some reason. You've been censored by the. It's fine. I was posting a clip. Oh, nice. Okay. Hang on. Let me pop open Twitch and see what you clipped precisely. Let's bring that out to share for the whole barely disguised foot tips with Pabs? That's a crazy ass title. Thank you for clipping that though. I do think I actually do need to start clipping things more often. Fucking I have kind of screwed myself over. Alright. So the other day, right, I was browsing the internet as you do, and on one of my social media sites, I saw this advertisement for a dude who was doing a Q&A on like growth as a streamer, right? Like marketing tips for streamers. Like ask me anything and I'll tell you with my experience in like marketing and branding and everything what you're doing is right, if what you're doing is wrong, if it's actually helping, what you might need, why you might be struggling with certain things. And I was like, wow, that sounds really helpful and interesting. Let me tune in on that. And I go to the VOD. It's fucking 8 hours long. This generous, kind soul was yapping for a whole 8 hours. So I've been trying to go through the entire VOD and write down notes on what I can. I'm thinking about actually putting them in a Google Doc or something once I've finished digesting the entire VOD, just so that nobody else has to sit through 8 hours of looking through footage to find the answer that they were looking for. Also, I don't think Zett actually has like the sparkle eye. I think they have more of like a thundercrack look thing going on. But yeah, I'm feeling because I've been listening to so much of this advice, a lot of it has been making me think about like, okay, am I actually doing enough as a streamer? And the answer is yes, I am, because this is a hobby, right? But then on the other hand, I've been thinking about like, oh, I'm a very creative person, right? Whenever I hear an opportunity to do something and it sounds like it could be fun or interesting, I immediately go like, wow, how can I begin implementing that? The problem is that there is a lot of advice that this person gave, and not all of it applies to me, but a lot of it does. Or it could apply to me, rather. I don't know. I fear I might be too easily influenced. I fear that I am not only not immune to propaganda, I am like disturbingly susceptible to it. Because this person was talking about different ways to grow, like assuming that this is gonna be like your professional, this is like a professional endeavor of yours, and I'm out here like with my hand on my chin, like, how do I, a guy who does this for shits and gigs, try to approach this? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of what he gave was, a lot of the advice that he gave, again, does apply to me. It does provide instruction for things that I feel like I might struggle with a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move this one lock here, and I'm going to make the... Now I'm taking a look at Zett's model, right? And I'm thinking to myself, maybe there is a middle ground that I can do between like their current Vroid model and their presentation. Well, this is I need to go shake down Zett for their reference sheet. I feel like I have a reference sheet for most of my friends. To some degree, either because I've asked them for one, or because they posted one on the internet. I'm gonna move this part of the hair a little bit further in. And I'm also going to lower this eyelash just a tiny bit. May make the eye as a whole bigger and move it in a little bit too, because I feel like that is not in the right position. That's the great thing about trying to do this digital style, is that now I have me with inks is at like 30% power. Well, maybe more like 40% power. But me with inks and then digital is like 110%. I don't know, it's... I like to be as economical as I can be with my creative process. Hold on, let me add them on Discord to see if I can get it for you real quick, because it'd be really funny for that to be our non-server conversation. God. You know what? Go for it. I'd love to see what they say. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. I should drink some water. I honestly feel very good about myself today, though. I mentioned earlier how I was like briefly contemplating becoming a completely well-adjusted normal guy. And I'm trying to lean into that a little bit more in various ways, right? Like I'm making more of an effort to make small talk with my coworkers. Like I made small talk with them before, but now I try to initiate it. And the other thing that I did today actually was that I tried to like really get myself nice and well prepared, well groomed and well prepared for my work. Like normally I do just like clean myself up and I do comb my hair and everything before I head out to work. But like today I was like, all right, I'm gonna do like the like the 2.5 step face skincare routine. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna dab on a little bit of perfume. Why not? Let's go all out today. I don't know. It's good to just do that once in a while, I feel like. Even if you're not going to make a habit out of it, it's still good to just dress nicely for no particular reason, because otherwise, you know, if you just keep waiting for a reason to dress up nicely, you might find that you like forget how to do it. Actually, hang on, I got an idea. Okay, there we go. Oh! Hello, everyone. Hey, Zett. Funny running into you here. Hang on, /shoutout. Add set in stereo. Hey, by any chance, did you get the message from Ryan? Here, you want my state streams? I didn't know they were streaming. Fuck. Hey, Zett. Yeah, no, I'm looking for your social security number and bank records, and maybe the tax information for the past 5 years. Actually, fuck it. You got your birth certificate lying around? Yeah, actually, do you have a reference sheet or like a full body reference picture handy? That it would be a really big help. Of course, if you're feeling a little tired, I think you were playing Hollow Knight, right? If you're feeling a little tired, no worries. Feel free to bounce on out. I'll figure something out. But like, we just thought it'd be funny to do the roundabout way. Yep. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a slimmer neck. We were. It's fun as hell, but also making me crash out every time I play. I do think that it's the game that either demonstrates to yourself that you do have the monk's temperament, or like it forces you to slowly learn the monk's discipline. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Sent, and there was a request too. Yes, I do see it. No worries. The state secrets shall be utilized, but not exposed to the general public. Okay, yeah. I try to do a spike platforming puzzle, and it makes me go through the cycle of grief. I get you. There's like you were on Green Path, right? There's some like pogo stick shit you can do after the fight with Horn. Yeah, I think you like ended on the fight with Hornet. And there's some like pogo stick shit you can do with some motherfuckers walking around in acid that I was like, I wanted to utter phrases that should not be repeated in front of the general public for fear of damaging their, for fear that I would be reprimanded and soap would be used to wash out my mouth. Every time I see something dangerous, my first thought is to pogo off that shit, even if it hurts so good. You're like lion-hearted for that shit, for real. I get you though. Like sometimes I do think that Hollow Knight is a very good game because like even though you like know some shit might hurt for real, you still feel tempted to do it. Even if like it's going to suck, you still feel like, you know what, maybe I am that guy. And you try to do it and it whoops your ass and you're like, and maybe later you're like, you know what, maybe I'm not that guy. But for that brief moment, it helps you think. It makes you believe for even a small moment you are in fact that guy. Sequence breaking on accident just because I had the heart of a pogo bitch. Heart of a pogo bitch feels like some kind of mid-2000s shitty album that you find somebody selling out the back of their out of the trunk of their car. Coincidentally, in the trunk of the car, you can also very clearly see a pogo that's been almost like dented from overuse. God. Wasn't Pogo Bitch that movie with Amy Adams? I have no idea. I don't know. Pogo movie with Amy Adams. Wasn't Pogo Bitch the chorus to that one Chapel Roan song? Except that she like spells it out instead. God. Pogos are one of the, I feel like, fundamentally most fascinating inventions we've had on the planet. I feel like you could like go to 5 million different alien empires, and none of those little green bastards would have a pogo stick. None of them, right? I feel like that's definitely like a very human. I feel like the pogo stick is a very human creation. I don't know why I feel this so strongly in my heart. Maybe it is maybe it's like Earthling pride or some shit. But I do feel like any alien species would like look at our pogo sticks and be like, "You guys are wild for that thing." Like I've traveled like across 5 million different star systems over my 4 billion years of life, and I have never seen some shit that looks like that. What the fuck is that? Invention with the purpose of making you jump slightly higher at risk of fucking killing you forever. The same could be said of a lot of different things. Like for like trampolines are kind of like that too. I think we just like jumping. I think we like the feeling of the bounce. It drives us to self-destruction. It is crazy just how like one bad fall can fuck you up mortal wound style. You ever think about that? Like, wrong. Trampolines are God's gift and a way to collaborate with your fellow humans to jump even higher at risk of fucking killing you forever. God. Marxist trampoline or capitalist pogo stick. Make your decision. Okay, I see. So maybe it's almost more like this. You know, now that you frame it that way, I was always wondering why my trade union had a trampoline in the rec hall, but you know what? Now that you frame it like that, that makes a lot of sense. I think I've learned something very valuable today. I do think that the world would be a better off place if instead of glazing golf, people with like way too much money started glazing pogo jumping. Personal goal in life is to reach the fabled triple jump as showcased and perfected by the famous Super Mario. The triple jump is very much... I feel like that's going to end up in some kind of Icarus-esque parable, you know? I feel like man's hubris is to pogo jump. Trampolines are at their best and most dangerous when others are on it, with you trying to bounce you 20 feet in the air. Yeah, in high school, I had a guy in like the grade below me. His house had a trampoline, and we had like a little friend group that would always just like jump in the trampoline at his house. And we it was like 4 teenagers on a trampoline, and we did some some things that approached perhaps. I don't know what like the adjective for Icarus like is, like Icarian, some very hubris laden actions. Forever remembering that one episode of Community where they boost the old man character 20 feet off the air in a trampoline and send him flying to a dumpster that paralyzes him from the neck down. That does sound like an episode of Community. I remember watching like a fair bit of Community growing up. That's a good show. God. That's so scary to think about, though. Like, I feel like... Hang on. Wait, so it's gonna go more following the collarbone, actually. So maybe more like this. God, that's such a scary thought, though. I mean, how great were those, like, 15 seconds of airtime, though? Genuine Icarus moment, for real. I don't know, I think I'm bringing up Icarus a lot because that's the only kind of apt allegorical comparison that exists for somebody going really high and then fucking regretting it. I feel like those 15 seconds of airtime would be like... like fucking high? What? They would be life-changing, in many senses of the word. Hang on, I'm going to try and do, like, forensics. Life-changing, but I spelled it the most wrong you can. Ain't fucking the thing that people say whenever they're, like, worshipping Cthulhu? Like, Cthulhu, yeah, Cthulhu, fucking... That almost feels like it needs the French pronunciation, like, fucking 9. Or something like that. Okay, so it's gonna come up like this. Okay, so the limb is gonna come down from here, and maybe we can actually expand the arm a little bit over in this direction. Not the arm, the sleeve, rather. Me trying to remember an eldritch deity. Yeah, this guy's like Faha 9 or something gets taken away by the horrors I can't perceive. You know, that's a fun distinction. Are you a more horrors you can't comprehend kind of person, or a horrors you can't perceive kind of person? I would prefer the horrors I can't comprehend because I feel like I'm a visual learner and I feel like I wouldn't properly appreciate me being hunted for sport by entities from another dimension if I wasn't able to at least like put a fear to a face. But I don't know, maybe some people don't want to understand the source of their suffering. Feel like even if I can't comprehend it, I want to see it, right? Like, I would rather be able to see it and not comprehend it than comprehend it and not see it. I would say that being able to comprehend it and not see it is worse. It's, like, way worse, isn't it? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what, like, the Minotaur in House of Leaves was about. Me staring to the abyss. I'm a visual learner, by the way. Eyes emoji. Well, okay, that's a different kind of approach. I don't know. Would Johnny Truant have gotten fucked up from trying to edit the House of Leaves if he had tried to riz up the Minotaur? Question mark. I feel like it would have been a nice change of pace. That guy fucked everything under the sun except the Minotaur. From the parts that I read. God, that really was the toughest part of it. I haven't finished House of Leaves yet. I want to finish it someday. It's in my shelf right now, taunting me, begging for me to come back. The Minotaur was asexual. The Minotaur wasn't trying to fuck. Like, that's actually funnier though. What if like the horror that is chasing you doesn't want to hit, but like you are very insistent, and the horror is like being increasingly frustrated by how difficult you're making their job. Like the equivalent of like a person hitting on the barista at a cafe, and you like you want to be able to be like, you know. Dude, they're just not into you. Let it go. New rom-com anime incoming. This is literally what that one rom-com anime about a guy getting hit on by Nyarlathotep would have been about if it didn't suck ass. I remember watching episodes of that because I was curious about like the premise, and everybody kept posting gifs from it. And I remember watching it and being like, "Wow, this is just not very funny." And mind you, this is when I was like a teenager still, so I had fairly dog shit taste back in the day. Listen, if Teenage Pabs thinks your shit is mid, then it is like well and truly mid. I had nothing but time back in those days. I'd fucking read and watch anything. A man of discerning taste, I was not. God. It is a shame how many rom-com animes squander their premise just by nature of trying to turn into some harem slop. But I guess that by that point they're not. I don't know. Is harem slop technically still rom-com? I think it does still qualify, but like I feel like that should disqualify it in some ways, because I feel like then the goal is no longer romance. It's just like a bunch of funny girls orbiting around one guy who is varying degrees of funny himself. I don't think they're the same. I don't know. We need like a control subject in order to make this in order to make this scientific. Like we need like one polyamorous romantic comedy that doesn't like go into like harem comedy stuff. Had slop harem is like my trigger word or something. I just saw red. Okay, nice. I'm gonna need to remember that as like your sleeper agent activation code. Yeah, I do think it is some kind of subgenre. I do think it can be comedy. I do think there are a lot of them do rely on comedic elements. Very rarely is it like played for like a dramatic conflict of any kind. Sometimes it is, and usually those are actually really awful chapters too. So Ramus is the main group, then subgenre is under. I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know. I was actually thinking about this the other day, right? In how you can blend things together, but they don't quite mix. Like when you try to put genres together, right? Like there's very few stories, especially very few good stories that actually do 100% pure play one genre or another. Like a lot of the ones that are 100% pure play, like okay, like let's say it's purely mystery or something, right? I don't know. I can't think of any legitimate poly romance stories, but I'm sure there's some out there. I hope there are. I do hope there's at least a couple of them running around. Okay, actually the hair is gonna go like this a little bit. There are not in anime/manga, but in general fiction, yes. The monkey's paw finger, the finger on the monkey's paw curls, and and we do eventually, and in like the next 3 years, we do actually get a very wildly successful romantic comedy, but a romantic comedy that is straight up polyamory. But the person writing it is Tatsuki Fujimoto, so every single chapter, it's like we feel like the sword of Damocles is hanging over her head. I feel like if Tatsuki Fujimoto does end up moving on to just like being an author after finishing up part 2 of Chainsaw Man, I feel like I'm going to be so scared whenever he fucking writes something. He did write a poly relationship in CSM. Oh wait, no, that's right, he did. I forgot about fucking Chensi, my goat. I forgot about that shit. How could I forget about Tianchi? I feel that one went relatively. That's true, actually. That one did go relatively okay, you know, until Makima happened. But like that one went okay. That's crazy to think about. Tatsuki Fujimoto actually did write one of the few straight up polyromantic romances in manga history. I don't know how to feel about that. I need to like make the waist more extreme. There we go. That's so crazy to think about. That's like a making that waist radical. I feel like I need to put the sleeve and the arm maybe a little bit further up. And actually maybe make the sleeve a little less wide. Hang on. But yeah, that genuinely threw me off guard. I forgot fucking Chuan-Chi was around. She was there for like 15 chapters, and then she just fucked off until almost near the end of the comic, and then again for briefly in part 2. And I really liked her area. While you're doing this, I'm going to be drawing some Juicy V. Nice. I feel like there's some kind of there's like something in the water today. I feel like we've all just been inspired to start drawing more audacious things. I don't know. Hang on. Are there any like special moons out near out from like when we're at? No, this was all he's my plan today. Ah, so the audaciousness was predetermined. That's also good, though. So hang on, I'm gonna go Google, like, there's like a special moon that's happening soon. Special Moons 2025. I don't believe in lunomancy or anything, but I feel like it's always funny to blame whatever the fuck is happening on the moon. Okay, the most recent 2 are... Hang on. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. The last one that happened was in August, from August 19th to 21st, which is a crescent moon close to Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury, which looked kind of like this. Which is really cool, actually. I would have loved to see that if I had known that was going on. And the next one coming up is crescent moon close to Venus and Regulus on September 19th, before sunrise. Huh. Oh, wait, no! Check this out. A second total lunar eclipse, September 7th, 2025, nighttime, in like 5 days. That means that this is only like the beginning stages of it. It's gonna come to a head like sometime this Sunday. Can't wait to see what happens on Sunday to kind of feed my agenda. I don't care if it's good or bad, honestly. I just hope it's kind of funny, at least. Well, no, I do hope it's good. I hope it's good and funny. Whether that means that it's a good thing that happened, or it's something good that happened in a funny way. It's something funny that happened in a good way, or something good that happened in a funny way. I'll take either one. You know what? I think we could all use a morale boost, quite frankly. August has been something of a rough month for a lot of people, I feel like. But we take those. Okay, then the other things are the thigh highs. Or I guess they're leggings, actually. Or no, this is technically a bodysuit. I'm getting my my shapewear cladistics all messed up. But yeah, I don't put any stock into astrology unless I think it'll be really funny if I do. Like if people if people ask me like what sign I was born under, I will be asleep. But if I get the chance to be like, oh yeah, no, this happened because there's an eclipse going on, that shit is hilarious to me. I'm not a very superstitious person, but I do believe in the bit. It's important every now and again to put your faith in science. Well, not every now and again. As frequently as you can, it's important to put your faith in science. You know, maybe there is a brand of astrology that can accurately predict stuff, but nobody's found it out yet. Like, you know, going back to the alien that we're showing pogo sticks to, right? May like when we're talking about like how they managed to achieve faster than light travel, they're like, oh yeah, no, we consult these birth charts that are applicable galaxy wide, and based on that, we're able to calculate the trajectory of our own movements. And we're like, you're using space astrology for FTL travel? Actually, you know what? That would only explain part of the FTL of the whole FTL thing. Unless there's like a specific star sign that lets you move fast as fuck, being able to predict your location is only for navigational purposes. You wouldn't actually be able to use that to go any faster than you normally could. So I guess the question of how they achieved FTL travel would still be open. I don't know. I feel like I would definitely be one of those people. I feel like I have a tendency to get left behind by technology to some extent. So I feel like I would be like one of those people who, like, when they discover FTL travel, I'll be like one of the few people that'll get too motion sick to do it. Like, I feel like that's going to be my lot in life, is that I'm going to be able to be alive to witness the very first foundations and applications of faster than light space travel, but I'm also going to not be able to enjoy it at all. Actually, now that I see it, Zett does have something of a cat mouth a little bit. Okay, nice. Let's start. We'll just do flat color for this one. I think we have enough time for like one more after this one. So we'll just quickly add in some flat colors, maybe some very simple shading, and then we'll move on to a second one. Okay, and then this side is going to be white. The jumps is actually more of a neutral gray color. Okay, and then... Oh, right, it would be the face that has this color as well. That's a little too blue. We need that a little darker. Maybe a touch more saturated and more towards purple. Yeah, that looks about right. All right. God. Insanely lucky moment for me today at work. I managed to get to see some construction workers tearing off the drainage on our roof on the building across the street, and they were working at just when I went to take my lunch break. So I got to spend my entire lunch break looking at them tearing off this big ass railing from the building across the street. It was fucking awesome. I love watching construction work. I've joked about this before, but like one evening with like one afternoon at like a space where I can see a construction site in place with maybe some binoculars would fix me. Sunny day, got binoculars in my hand, maybe a trunk of cold drinks somewhere nearby. When I tell you that could fix me, I am saying it with all my heart. I don't think I'm particularly broken in order to be fixed, but I do think like if something was wrong with me, that would be how I would get my mojo back. I feel like I'm pre-investing in becoming like one of those little old men who just hang around construction sites all day, just watching the workers put stuff together. Redraw of my uncles watching a construction site with their hands behind their back. That's what I'm saying. I'm like pre-gaming that lifestyle. Hi, Jupiter. I don't know if these uncles just kind of manifest. That is fun to think about, actually. Do you think like there's like an uncle network? Do you think that they have a group chat or something, or like they have a chat newsletter or some shit that's like, hey boys, there's some heavy construction happening over at 124 Miller Street. Come hang. Person who accidentally creates a grassroots movement out of recruiting old men near these construction sites. Okay, so the part here is kind of hot pinkish. We're gonna be able to... I almost forgot to properly color in the toes. My fault. Vital component. Group chat meeting at the pub at a designated time. You're right, actually. That would be a really easy way to disseminate information quickly, is just to have a regular hangout spot. Do you suppose the kind of societal progress towards ignoring and not properly establishing and caring for third places might be some kind of attempt to disrupt the curious uncle information network? Is there perhaps some manner of government conspiracy for the concerning lack of uncles that have been seen supervising diligently at construction sites? I don't know. Has anybody had experiences with having like a hangout spot like that? I used to have a place like that back when I was in university. My it was really kind of a strange deal. The first RA that I had at university was this very, I want to say neurotic, but the better way to put it is probably passionate. This very passionate dude who was a very gay guy. I'm like very much, very openly and very in your face about a gay, which I appreciate. It's good. It's good. It's important to be yourself. And he was kind of obsessed with us getting like this award, right? So if your floor, if your particular floor as an RA participates in enough events in a specific year or in a specific time period, you actually get Ally Flag t-shirt hats. God. Yeah, no, he started talking a lot about Lana Del Rey, and I immediately had to tear open my shirt like Germa to show the little A over the the rainbow flag. God. But yeah, if you got your floor to participate in a set number of events as an RA, your floor actually got to select our award from the like residence team. It could be any number of things. Like they had veto power, of course, but like it gave you some freedom. And he really wanted that award, so he was like constantly like encouraging people. No, come hang out, for real, come hang out. And it was actually really good. It built a very good community. It was very handy in that way. He just organized lots of trips to lots of different places. He was like very diligent about like putting up notices. It was really good. And so because of that, the kind of like common area on our floor became a very frequent hangout spot for a little group of friends that formed naturally just by people who kept going to these events consistently. And I don't know, it was really nice. I met like my best friend from university who I still keep in touch with today through those exploits. So, maybe the real residential committee reward was the friends we made along the way. I don't know. Looking back on it, you really do realize that it's just people who are willing to be kind of, I don't know how to put it, like adamant, very very adamant. Like just consistent and adamant are the people who are able to most consistently organize people from different backgrounds. Sadly, shortly after that particular period, I got assigned away. We all got assigned to all the friends that we made, all the people who were kind of together from that time. We got assigned to different dormitories, and the second year of university is much harder than the first one. So the friend group kind of fell apart for me at least. I had a hard time staying in touch with a lot of them. Not the one that I got really close with though. He like I said, we're still tied up to this day. But yeah, it does. What? Since when were these this color? Hang on. I don't remember the short. I don't remember making the shorts purple. Why did why did the shorts suddenly like activate their Hulk mode? The shorts turned purple. That's how you know they're in attack mode. I try not to cast judgment on anything too much, right? I try not to be like this will never work or this can't work. But I do feel like Purple Shorts is definitely like one of those things where you need to where I do feel like the need to maybe take a step back and be like, does that actually work? I don't know. Purple clothing in general is a little bit of a gamble. I, for my part, like purple shirts. I think purple shirts look very cool. But I don't think purple legwear is necessarily it. Blaming, I guess it was a ghost type incident on Tool. God. That is funny to think about. I haven't actually thought to ask Tool, like, if they have any supernatural beliefs. They've always felt like a very hard-line skeptic to me. But who knows? May they believe in ghosts or something. Come to think of it, I've mostly seen him angry. You know, he has like that angry face he wears like a lot on, right? Like that's like his almost default expression, his angry kind of scowl. But I don't think I've ever seen him properly scared. I don't know. Maybe I can take him to a horror movie or something. It is October soon. It is almost time to do spooky shit. I don't know. I struggle with getting into the spirit of specific holidays. No matter what I do, I'm more or less almost just myself. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, mind. Tool feels like they never say they exist in anything until something happens that may hint at it and immediately enter a fight or flight response because they actually do believe. Do you have a favorite season? I like the summertime. I know that's not a very popular. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh God, I'm always melting during the summertime." One, maybe that's because you live in California. All right, maybe summertime isn't actually bad. Maybe you just live in California where it's hot all the time. Two, I like the longer days. I like the feeling of having more time in the day that comes from that. I like how like just cheerful everything feels under daylight. Not a fan of having to go home from the office in the dark. I don't think I'm gonna get jumped or anything. It's just depressing. It does feel like you've already ended the day once your work is over. But I think Ryan's got the right of it in terms of tools of reaction. I do think... I don't know. I feel like agnostics are the ones who are most hard hit by supernatural experiences. People who are hardline skepticists are like, you know what? No, there's definitely a reasonable explanation for this. I'm not going to let it get to me. Meanwhile, people who are like true believers are like, yes, surely this must be because this and that, right? Like they have some way to rationalize it within their heads, and they can just move on. They are like familiar with the game that their fear is trying to play with them. I think I've become a summer believer, clutching a blanket full of fresh produce like a weeping mother with a baby I'm not ready to part. God, that is another benefit, isn't it? Is that like, you know, spring has come and gone, but like there's still fresh produce wherever you look. That's a really nice part of it. Does that mean that have you been going big in on like fresh produce then? Have you been going to a lot of farmers markets and stuff? I do feel like Jupiter would be at home at a farmer's market. I feel like they have the vibe of like a very like world-wise stall vendor. I do remember seeing one of your little planets work at the cafe that Jay went to for her anniversary stream, I believe. Although that doesn't indicate anything necessarily. Certainly not a weekly shopper. That's too expensive, but I do partake occasionally. That's always a nice experience though. That's almost better than being a weekly shopper because it feels like more of a special occasion, right? Like I don't go to the farmers market near where I live very frequently, so every time that I do, it feels like a very novel experience. I'm over here munching my $5 samosa, just like marveling at all the different stuff that's going on. Had a great tomato week a while ago. Loads of tomato sample too. Oh, nice. I will say that even as somebody who's like not especially fond of tomatoes, a really good, really ripe tomato hits the spot really good. Like not too sweet, not too strong of a taste, but it like definitely still a little bit sour, a little sweet. That's the moment when tomatoes earn their fruit qualifications. That's when you're like officially ready to be like, you know what? I'll believe it. You're a fruit. You're a refreshing, delicious fruit, and you belong in a fruit salad. I have been too harsh on you in the past. Well, maybe not that far, but a good tomato. Tomatoes are like sometimes if you have a good tomato, it's like wow, that was a good tomato. But if you have a great tomato, that's like life changing. I think another good summer market find was a buttery croissantish sourdough. Had some bounciness due to some rice flour. That's so cool. You know what? I hadn't considered what impacts other flours might have on the consistency and, I guess, dynamics of bread. But it makes sense that like different flours would have different effects. You know, the different gluten contents and all that. That's so cool, though. Have you been to that stall other times? Have you like gotten more stuff from them? I'm kind of excited to hear about their Frankensteinian creations. I'm just imagining them like almost like doing some Walter White type shit, being like 5 parts rice flour, 8 parts wheat flour, 2 parts yeast. This is the way. This is the method. We do things proper and we do things clean. Hang on. So maybe the eyes shine or is something like this. The bread was a first time buy, but I want to get from it again. Nice. I hope you get the opportunity soon. God. I was actually talking to my family the other day about this. The very best bread I've ever had in my life, I actually remember getting while we were visiting family in Ecuador, where there was like this fresh bread vendor that happened to stop by. Whenever we go to Ecuador, we stop by my grandma's house, right? Because she has a fairly large house that can accommodate guests. And so we usually just stay there. And also, you know, it's grandma. She's always happy to take us in. I find local markets can be nice make for nice gifts. So and so might buy something popular online, but they probably don't have X specific vendor's goods. You're right. That's also a really good idea. Yeah. Actually, it is just about the season to start thinking about like Christmas gifts and whatnot. Last time I got my family those pepper sets that V posted one time in her server, and those seem to go over really well. So I'm also thinking like maybe something consumable again for this year. I don't know. Maybe something that doesn't take up too much space but can be consumed. Like maybe like an array of like little soaps or something. Like Jupiter, what is the most memorable purchase you think you've had? Like from the farmer's market of dreams. Your farmer's market honestly does sound like it mocks the fuck out of mine a little bit. Like I feel like if I told the I find low like I feel like if I told my farmer's market about the reports coming in from the further provinces, I feel like they would become motivated with envy. Oh wait, the neck part stops somewhere around here. To be fair, these are mostly not one local farmer's market. Ah. Okay, so it's more like things that you've just observed when you've been kind of going out there, right? That also makes a lot of sense. Okay, are there any markings on the arm? No, that's fine. I am somewhat tempted to listen to the Green Goblin mask in my ear and try to do a little bit of something with the texture here. Where's the opacity toggle on this? Maybe not like that, though. Maybe like with the... Oh yeah, with the airsoft brush. Okay, make this like 1 density. I don't know if I can pick one off the top of my head, but if I'm being personally tortured by a local farm, tasty, but that's a sometimes treat. I gotcha. No, there's definitely it's very important to have the temperance to recognize a sometimes purchase. Yeah, I can increase the density just a little bit here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo this part here, and I'm going to put it on a different layer just so I can control it a little better. Forever having my perspective on BLTs altered by having one that's very tomato heavy. Oh yeah, that's gonna fuck with you a little bit. Oh, I'm kind of liking this one. I think this one's the way to go, though. You know what? Something that I haven't had in a while is like a good club sandwich. I haven't been seeking out club sandwiches recently. There used to be a time when I was like a club sandwich main, but I think like there's like 2 places that I know of where I live that make them. One is a local breakfast diner that has like these really good chocolate pancakes. So sadly, choosing a BLT in that situation is kind of a cuffing baby versus hydrogen bomb type matchup. And the other one is Tim Hortons, which I swear to God, I've been getting paler just because I've been eating Tim Hortons too much. Like Tim Hortons is like one of the few consistent food options near my workplace, and I swear to God, it's been making me paler. Still, good prices though. They're putting your life force into cream fillings. God. Yeah, little by little there. It's like the portrait of Dorian Gray, except it's like a cafe latte that eventually turns into a macchiato or something. Remember like half an hour ago when I'm like, yeah, no, I'm only gonna do some light shading on this maybe. I do wish there was an easier way to do zippers. You do need the monk's temperance to just go one by one on these. You know, a great thing about having like a very good coffee machine. My office has like a pretty good coffee machine. I'm not gonna say it's great. It's not that good, but like I will say that it is like a nice coffee machine. And I will say that one of the most life-changing things about that is that it has given me a very low-stakes environment where I can learn more about like the different coffee orders that I see on menus sometimes. Like I didn't know what a macchiato was necessarily. I understood that it was like a coffee order. I didn't know what kind of coffee it was though. Like I understood an Americano is just an espresso shot with water, right? Like I understood like espresso and Americano, and you know, I understood mocha lattes. I got those because my brother got me a mocha latte one time, and he explained that it's just like coffee but with chocolate, and you know that pretty much sold me on it basically immediately. But I've been like trying out like cafe lattes, macchiatos and shit, mochachinos, all kinds of different stuff, and I've been like learning what these mean through that. I don't know. I feel like having like a baseline level of coffee is one of those things that really makes you feel like you're becoming like you're a proper adult. Like I'm saying this as a 25-year-old. I've been doing taxes for like 3 years now. 4 years actually. No, 3 years. I've been doing my taxes for like 3 years now. And like I didn't feel as mature as like when I started like learning the different coffee types that are out there. I wanted to actually do something for the jacket is that I wanted to add some more colorful highlights, but I'm going to need to be very judicious about where and how I apply those. Do you like maple products? I like them well enough. I don't think I specifically seek them out, but I do like them well enough. Like, if you gave me a choice to put maple syrup or honey over a pancake, I would go for the maple syrup. Which does feel like I'm kind of squandering my opportunities as a person living in Canada. It is what it is, I suppose. How about you? Do you like them? I feel like I haven't met somebody who's like a real Maplehead yet. I feel like I this is gonna sound like one of those memes where like if you're like 25 and your circle isn't discussing maple products, maple toffee, and also like maple beverages, get a new circle. Your network is your net worth type shit. Like that I do feel like I am missing like somebody who's like deeply passionate about maple syrup in my life. Don't think I'm a real Maplehead. It's good. But I'm sure my appreciation would grow. Maybe that is my problem. Maybe I just haven't been trying hard enough to get into it. Going on Reddit on like r/Canada. Is it a skill issue if I don't really like maple syrup? And then immediately getting like mod banned from it for like being an being an insane question. Going on a journey to learn more about maple syrup. Call that a maple story. God. Maple Story's existence is really kind of crazy if you think about it. Generationally popular MMORPG, very popular pretty much only in Korea and I suppose in a lot of different places in East Asia, I suppose. I don't know how popular it is outside of Korea. I mostly saw Korean... I think the producers are from Korea. So maybe that's why I associate a lot with that country. I don't know if I want to dedicate resources to it, but I feel like this fall I need to put to the test how much I like pumpkin/pumpkin spice. I do feel like that's something that you have to look inward for the answer for. Like, I remember I tried the pumpkin spice stuff out of curiosity, like, a while back. And I was like, wow, that's decent. It's not, like, as good or as mid as anybody was saying it was. It's just kind of okay. I don't know. If you are like a pumpkin spice advocate, normally I do think it is worth maybe expanding your horizons a little bit. Also, I underestimated how pale Zett actually is. On reflection, I feel like it's not a high ranking as a vegetable for me as I'd assume. There was a brief period of my life where I was like really into making pumpkin cake in my rice cooker. May need to go savory or warm more. I will say, savory pumpkin is like almost, not even almost as good. It is, to me, on par with like sweet potato. And I rank sweet potato pretty high. I do think if you can like get the right consistency in terms of texture, that's the thing. Pumpkin is a lot more texture fluctuation than than sweet potato. It's much easier, I feel, to fuck up the texture of pumpkin than it is to fuck up the texture of sweet potato. Yeah, for what it's worth, I always felt that like pumpkin was like almost, you know, if it was on Steam, it would have the text like sweet potato like. To me, that's an insane thing to say, but that I gotta speak my truth. Okay, maybe over on this way. Yeah, there was a time in my life when I used to cook pumpkin cake in my rice cooker, but then I stopped because I noticed that every time I would do it, the bottom would be like really soggy, and I realized my rice cooker was just kind of not up to the task. My rice cooker wasn't him. God. If that picture of like Lightning McQueen crashing and doing like like 5 million rolls, but it's like a picture of my rice cooker when your goat is washed. It really does feel like that when your appliances start breaking down. Recently, my fucking Foreman grill has been giving me attitude too, because now it only works if I plug it in like a specific direction, right? Like I have to like jiggle the cable a little bit and make sure that it's like stable in a specific position. Otherwise, it won't start. And it feels like I've been betrayed by somebody who I loved like a brother. That's a bit dramatic, but it's a very good approximation of how I feel. All right, I think this one's good to go. The freckles. Oh my god, how could I forget the freckles? I think if I had forgotten the freckles, I would have actually had to find some way to go out with honor. Straight up, if I had forgotten the freckles, I think I would have had to put up a graduation announcement. What's the modern version of flaming arrow? It's a good question. I do feel like a flamethrower is probably the closest one, but I don't know. The flaming arrow has something which the flamethrower doesn't, which is restraint. Like, you can set stuff on fire with a flaming arrow, but you can't really you don't have as fine of a control with, like, say, a flamethrower. Flaming arrow is a timeless classic. It's true. It's the same reason why people still send letters as a romantic gesture. Like, when it comes to, like, a very personal kind of pyromania, you just can't you just can't beat it. I'm sorry, it's impossible. The flaming arrow is just that goated. I guess another version of the modern flaming arrow could be the aerosol and lighter trick, but it's like, you have to consider carefully, like, how much control do you want necessarily? If you just want to set something on fire, then yeah, the aerosol and the flaming and the lighter is a reliable choice. But then, like, you know, do you want to be able to, like, aim it properly? Do you want to be able to do something dramatic with it? It's a question with depth that I might not be. You know, I'm a martial artist, so my weapons are my hands and feet. So I feel like I might not be qualified to provide the guidance you seek. But I would be curious to hear an expert's opinion on the matter. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to apply, like, a dark purple to... Actually, we can do a few different things with this one. So let's start this thing here. Punch the boat, generating enough friction to make it catch on fire. Now you're thinking like a true legend. That's such a badass concept that I'm kind of slack-jawed on the floor here. You're a genius. Imagine if instead of the phrase "don't rock the boat," it's "don't punch the boat." Imagine what kind of beautiful world it would be if we lived in a place in a world where that was the actual phrase. Okay, somewhere around here. And honestly, we might just put this back to how it was before and then do this. Yeah. Not sure about that one, actually. I think we're pretty much done with Zett. I think this is a pretty good, not necessarily a stopping point, but definitely like where we have. Or actually, you know what? We can still do like one more thing. We can still add a quick background. Oh, and actually one more thing. We can do something with the belt buckle. It's a bit dull. Imagine an alternate martial arts-based world where both the hit song and the Guys and Dolls numbers are both about boat punching. God. Imagine... Imagine just like fully unarmed naval warfare being like just a widespread issue. Don't punch the boat, baby. God. Okay. Right. The background. I'm not actually sure what kind of background we can add. Actually, you know what might be good? They do have a very, like, space-like theme, so maybe we can try and go on Wikimedia Commons and see if we might find something related to that. Or actually, maybe like a public domain image archive. It's been a while since we hit that place up, actually. So how about stars? Let's see here. Ooh, couple good ones. Oh, this one's also really good. I love coming here. Every single time I find something new and interesting. Wait, this one's so cute, actually. Hang on. I kind of want to see that one. Pisces, the lion. Path to the Moon. This one looks sick. Typical sunspot? Holy shit. Oh, that's so cool! Featured on PDR in the collection, Agnes Gibernes, The Story of the Sun, Moon, and Stars, 1898. Oh, that sounds awesome. On a frosty East Midlands morning, when Agnes Giberne was but 7 or 8 years old, she asked her father why it wasn't warmer. She already knew, after all, that the sun was some 3 million miles nearer in the winter than during the summer months. Sitting across from a roaring fire in the hearth, her father pointed to a fly on his knee and replied with his own question. See? If that fly were 1 inch nearer to the fire, would it feel any hotter? Distance. Immeasurable, humbling, stupefying distance is a leitmotif of Agnes de Giberne's 1879 Sun, Moon, and Stars, a book for beginners. This text is less a Victorian astronomy primer than the foundation for phenomenological star wisdom. Remaining in print for nearly a century, it remains a compelling narrative that transports us to the most remote astral bodies, but also quickens every reader's lost 7-year-old sensibility that the universe was made to be brought within one's humble yet unbounded reach. The method of her father's cone-like response, simple, striking analogy, would become Giberne's own foolproof method to ask immense questions about the Earth's history, atmosphere, oceans, vegetation, and especially the starry heavens above. You should put this essay in the background. You know what? That might not be a bad idea. The answer to our book's opening question, what is this Earth of ours, promises that no matter how immense and incomprehensible it may appear, Earth is something very great, yet something very little. Something very great compared with things upon the Earth, something very little compared with the things outside of it. Employing the always inclusive we in her wide-ranging narrative, Giberne's poetic voice swings gently between wide-eyed wonder and hard-nosed empiricism. She compasses Earth as one sibling in the solar system family, embraces each planet as a beautiful and mysterious bosom friend, and rocks the reader not to sleep but to wakefulness in the cosmos. This is such a sweet and flattering. This is like the kindest way that anybody has ever written about anybody's writing. I don't know. It's so wonderfully gentle. But yeah, we should put this essay in the background. Now I'm kind of in love with this one. We kind of fucked up because we found one that's too good too early. May upside down. Okay, just kind of cropping that to these sections here. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. That was beautiful. Alright, we're gonna mask this. Apply that mask. And then we're going to hit it with the, whatchamacallit, the gradient mapping. Yellow doesn't provide too good of a contrast. Let's keep shopping around for different options. Blue might be the way. I really like how they pop against this one, though. I don't know, maybe because it's the sun we should go for, like, more yellows, though. But I don't know, that looks... There's too much contrast with the yellow. I haven't been showing CSP. My bad. But yeah, you see what I mean? There's like too much contrast with the yellow. It doesn't feel right. It feels like the yellow is trying to overpower the other colors. With this one, though, this one feels good. And see, the purple is too like... The orange is surprising. I didn't expect the orange to grow on me that fast, but I think this one is probably the best one we've got. Alright, and let's add the quick blurb from the website to that. Okay, what font am I using right now? Imprint empty shadow regular? Ah, fuck it, that'll work. Oh, I forgot that CSP doesn't like big blocks of text. Okay. One brick at a time. Oh god, okay, it might help to align this left for the time being. Okay. Also, this font kind of sucks for readability. What else we got in here? High tower text regular. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Okay, and then, again, just kind of spacing this out. Gonna need to cite my source once I post this sucker. Okay, mission accomplished. Oh god. Alright, and now we need to cite the source. So, I don't think we're going to have enough space for a full-on APA citation, but we can probably find the author who wrote this. Text by Kevin Dan. There we go. Do you see how much it lags when I try to, like, write anything new? That's... That's... we are so screwed. It might just be Jover. But we just need to keep believing. Okay, done. I'd say that's pretty good work. I like how it turned out. I do think I needed a good break from character design, so just doing some more polished illustration work I think really was just what the doctor ordered. Whew. Okay. I think that's enough for today, quite honestly. I do think we could probably get started on a second one, but maybe we just take a step back for now. Is anybody else streaming right now? I mean, there's always somebody streaming, broadly speaking. I think I'm just gonna end things here for today, honestly. But yeah, thank you to everybody who stopped by. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the fun conversations and fun chats that we've had. I feel like I've learned a lot today. But yeah, thank you very much. Thanks again to Zett for the raid, and yeah, catch you all later. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and yeah, have a good day.